You want to know what a trademark is? Fantastic. I'll tell you what a trademark is in less than 5 minutes. A trademark is a type of intellectual property. In particular, it's an identifier used in commerce to indicate the source of goods or services, although marks used to identify services are often called service marks. Trademark rights arise from use. Technically, they are not dependent on registration with the government. However, registration gives some very powerful rights, and if there is a conflict between an unregistered mark and a registered mark, the registered mark almost always wins, even if the unregistered mark was used earlier. Trademarks grant a number of rights. The most important right is the right to exclude others from using the mark in a way that is likely to confuse consumers. What that means is that if another company is using your trademark on the same or similar goods or services, you can file a lawsuit to force them to stop, and in some cases you can also collect money damages. Registering a trademark grants additional rights. In particular, registration grants you a presumption of ownership. If a mark is not registered, the plaintiff has to prove that she used the marks in association with the particular goods and services at issue. On the other hand, if the mark is registered, use in association with the goods and services at issue is presumed, and the plaintiff does not have to offer any proof unless the defendant offers enough evidence to defeat the presumption. In addition, registration grants a right to use the marks in association with the goods and services listed in the registration within the country that the mark is registered in. That brings us to another point about trademarks. Trademarks are territorial. That means that use of a mark within the United States does not give enforceable rights in Germany and vice versa. However, pursuant to the Madrid Protocol, a treaty that applies to trademarks, a mark that is registered in one country can be registered in a second country if certain requirements are met and certain fees are paid. In the United States, there are both federal trademarks and state trademarks. To be eligible for a federal trademark, the mark must be used in interstate commerce, and many businesses are not eligible to register for federal marks, or would be better served by state trademarks. The rights granted by state trademarks are similar to those granted by federal marks, but instead of applying to the entire United States, they only apply within the confines of a particular state, like Illinois. In the United States, registration of a federal trademark also grants the right, in certain circumstances, to have customs actually seize certain goods that are destined for the United States. Properly employed, this is an awesome power. It can absolutely stop a competitor in its tracks. There are a few common misconceptions I want to address about trademarks. The first is that you have to register your trademark to have rights. That's not true. I have litigated many unregistered trademarks, which are also called common law marks, and depending on the circumstances, they can be very powerful. The second misconception is that applying for a business license or registering an LLC means that you can do business under a certain name. That's just not true. Just because the state lets you register an LLC called Coca-Cola LLC, that does not mean that you are not going to get sued. Similarly, you are not necessarily in the clear if you just do a search of the USPTO's website for registered trademarks and your name comes back clean. There are numerous marks that are registered in the States or entirely unregistered that can come back to bite you. To recap, a trademark is a form of intellectual property that allows the owners to exclude others from using the mark in a way that is likely to confuse consumers. Trademark rights arise from use, but registration grants very powerful additional rights, and in conflicts between registered and unregistered marks, the registered marks will usually win. Trademarks are territorial, meaning that a mark that is used or registered in the United States will not necessarily help you in Canada. However, there is a treaty that allows you to easily register marks in multiple countries if you meet the requirements and pay the fees. If you are interested in learning more about trademarks, you can visit my website at www.sherinianlaw.net. We have a ton of information about trademarks. And if you are an entrepreneur or a business owner with a burning problem, maybe you have a new brand that you want to secure trademark protection for, or you just received a letter from a rival claiming that you are infringing on their trademark, feel free to reach out to my firm using any of the methods that are set forth in the description. We work with hundreds of entrepreneurs and business owners every year and have helped many navigate trademark issues and strengthen their companies and brands. Have a great day. Bye-bye.